It got you again, QuickShot. Welcome to the World's Cooldown, where we break down every day of Worlds as it delivers on the hype. And Fnatic, with a 3-1 victory over EDG, make it so that the EU LCS is the most represented region in the top 4 of the 2018 World Championships.
And it's great to see, because coming into this Worlds, many EU fans were hoping that it would be 2015 Worlds again, where we saw Fnatic and Origin make the semi-finals. And expectations were that with this Fnatic squad, we could finally do it. The surprise came from the fact that G2 were also able to do it, but now both EU teams will have the opportunity to fight for that final.
Yeah, and I think now the expectation should be higher that they can go further, because there is no LCK in the Korean World Championship that we have right now. And Verius, I know that you actually think that Fnatic underperformed expectations a little bit. Like, they made some mistakes, Caps actually didn't win all the lanes, but I would say in the place where they proved that they were the better team was in the team play. Because I felt like EDG did actually have some of those individual outplay moments that you thought could make this series interesting, but they just never let that manifest in very real advantages. I am very impressed with how Fnatic avoided tilt in this series, where so many other tournament favorites have faltered. Fnatic didn't.
With both their picks and their play, they were able to turn around some fights from some pretty amazing deficits in some of these games to claw back. Deficio calling out specifically the Swain pick for Bwipo here in this 4th game, but really everyone stepped up at a different time. The other crazy thing we have to acknowledge is that this is still the only first seed to make it through the quarterfinals. The 2 seeds from all 3 of the other series got the better of the favorites.
Yeah, first regional champion to make semifinals since 2016. Like, they defied all of the curses so far, and it just continues to be that World Championship. We keep going back to it. Like, the fact that we have a C9 versus Fnatic semifinal.
Right.
That's incredible. That means
guaranteed
it's guaranteed
Western team in the finals.
LCS team in the finals. And this wasn't even the most unexpected day of the weekend, Dash.
You're right. This one was definitely more expected than yesterday's, with both RNG and KT making an early exit from the tournament. But I do want to turn attention back to this series, only to celebrate it just a little bit more. Again, the idea that Fnatic as well, just as an organization, is doing it with Reckless having removed himself from the roster for a period of time. They've gone through their ups and downs similarly to a lot of... We've talked about the G2 roller coaster. We've talked about the Cloud9 last to first. For Fnatic, they've had their own obstacles to overcome. And while, yes, they are an organization that has largely been looked at as one of the dominant ones in the European LCS, they've had to contend with G2 for that point. And they finally got their, back into that domestic dominant state. And now they get to continue to prove it here on the international stage.
And I think that for a lot of members and for a lot of reasons, this achievement is a really big deal. If we think back to Bwipo having to sub in for MSI because of the damage done to Zoaz's arm, he goes 3-0 against RNG, and you hear him in that interview at the beginning of the day where he says, "We could have done better. We wish we would have done more." And you then look at Reckless, the guy that coming into international tournaments was kind of considered a choker. He couldn't compete against the best AD carries in the world. He couldn't have those kind of performances. And Brox was just that quiet jungler that didn't really stand out, and many in Europe even didn't rate that highly. They come into this tournament, Brox is considered one of the best Lee Sins in the world. Bwipo just has one of his best Swain performances that he's had all year.
The game before that, Reckless carries.
And even then, like, Reckless does what Reckless does in Europe, and he proves that even if things go poorly, we have the late game insurance of Reckless on a carry. And the fact that Caps wasn't relied upon to be the big carry, even though he was the guy that was hyped up and celebrated coming into the World Championship, I think is just such a big deal for Fnatic, because they're now a multi-threat team that plays team fights exceptionally well, and I'm excited to see the matchup against a very strong-looking Cloud9.
Yeah, that's a talking point, the Caps point, one we'll get to when we preview the C9 versus Fnatic semifinal. Fnatic's bot laner, though, earned a trip to the semifinals, and to get a sense of what that feels like, we're going to send it over to Shox for an interview.
Thank you very much, guys. I'm here with Reckless, who has made his second semifinal ever. Finally, more importantly, has made it with Fnatic and beat EDG. How do you feel?
I feel surprised. I thought it would be easier than it was. I was very surprised with how clean they actually played. Like, I'm so used to the Chinese teams being over-aggressive and making a lot of mistakes in the later stages, but EDG actually played a pretty clean macro game, if you ask me. And I think we only really edged them out in terms of mechanics, which is very weird to say for a team like us, but at the same time, I'm happy to see that we can actually do that as well, and it's not only like the teamwork that gets us somewhere, but actually individual members stepping up as well.
Well, I was about to say, I didn't mean to throw any shade, but it felt like this wasn't the same Fnatic that I saw beating IG twice in a row and being super decisive. So you already said EDG was definitely very strong. What was kind of off in your team? Did you not feel as online as you did in those previous games?
I think we honestly just weren't in the zone today. I could feel it already in the first game where, like, normally when someone makes a play on us, we are really fast at figuring out what we need to do as a response. If it's like matching them when they come for me in the bot lane, for example, and fighting them there, or just going mid to top as an answer, we're always usually like pretty fast at figuring out what we need to do there. But in the first game, we just let them take over. We didn't make any answers, so I could feel that something was off in the first game, which is why I was so happy to see that we could actually pick up like the most important games in my eyes, which is game 2 and game 3, because that puts you in a momentum swing. And then in game 4, I think we didn't even play that well. They just kind of seemed stressed out. They were walking in and making a lot of mistakes. But in the other games, I would definitely say that they played better than expected.
All right, all realistic, but now let's turn it on the positive, because this has been an amazing Worlds for you guys so far. And you came to me before the match, and you were very confident. You said, am I getting this interview after? Because I think we're going to win. Can you talk to me a bit about the 2018 Reckless, who is confident in himself and in his team's abilities to possibly take the World Cup home?
So a lot of people think that at MSI I was underperforming, which I definitely agree with. But at the same time, I could definitely feel like I was ready to play with these guys. I didn't feel like I was completely outclassed. I mean, I was definitely not having my best games, but I could keep up. I could understand what they were doing and where they were coming from. And when that happened versus Uzi, I thought that, like, now I'm ready. I can actually just, like, I can be the best in the world. So I tried really hard over the summer, even though I wasn't playing, to work on the team aspects, because I knew that if I were to figure out how we can be the best team in the world, then we can win the whole thing. So I would definitely say that, like, it's going to happen now. Like, I can feel it. We're going to make it all the way.
All right, then. Well, Uzi isn't there anymore, so that's a plus. But C9 actually did make very quick work of a Freak of Freaks earlier on. How do you feel about that NA-EU matchup? It is something that the fans' dreams are made of, but that may also bring a lot of stress with it.
Honestly, I don't really care that it's C9 we're going up against. I feel like that's more for the fans, but I'm very happy for the West. I feel like, especially towards my European teams, I have a lot of respect. I think they have all done amazing work this Worlds, like especially Vitality, who don't get the same sort of spotlight that we do since we made it further, made like an amazing run in their group stages already. So I feel kind of proud actually to be representing the West this time around, which is something that usually doesn't happen. So it's cool that we get to play or get to see a Western team in the finals and get to play C9 in the semis.
Fantastic. I think that was it. Congratulations. Great job. A calm and collected Reckless after booking a semi-final ticket. So we'll see how that match versus C9 plays out. Back over to you guys.
Thank you, Shocks. Confident as well, saying he feels it. They're going to take it all.
So he's been this confident since before the tournament. Like the first interview I heard him talking about, he was already projecting, well, as long as we don't draw RNG, I think we can beat any of the other teams in a best of 5.
Right.
And if we beat IG, we'll have a first seed, so we won't get RNG anyway. He was talking past them.
Right.
So now that the 2 teams he had in his head is the ones they had to worry about, maybe even 3 in KT, RNG, and IG, well, 2 of them are gone. They've already beaten IG. So he's thinking in his head, like,
We have no competition.
yeah, we're going to win Worlds. Yeah. And it hasn't stung them the way that a lot of other times I feel like that type of arrogance can sting a team, and the fact that they'll look past an opponent and lose to them and get surprised upset. That hasn't happened to Fnatic, so he's able to have that confidence while still remaining focused at the task at hand, and that's very impressive.
How do you feel about that confidence?
I sweat a lot. I'm scared. Like, I think on the one hand, it is justified because I think, you know, we talked about it at the beginning of the day where we said who is the next favorite, and we kind of look at Fnatic and IG, and by transitive properties, given that Fnatic have beaten 2-0 over IG, you could argue, yes, Fnatic is the favorite to win the World Championship.
Right.
But I think it's one of those things where right now, the World Championship is determined by who plays their style best. And I think that's what has made it the best World Championship.
And plays better on the day.
Right? And what we've seen from Cloud9 is that when they come in prepared and when the members get to play their style, this team is a top 4 team in the world. And the fact that Sneaky stepped up today, the fact that we've seen Sven Skaren been performing out of his mind, Licorice stole a Baron on Ornn. Like, the fact that all these things happened is something that Fnatic have to come in respecting. And if they come in with the mentality of, okay, the LPL teams were our strongest opposition, it's an easy, smooth sailing to the finals from here, that will bite them. Because Cloud9 are looking good, and you have to respect that.
Well, you've just done a damn good job of previewing it, but after today's series, we do have our semifinal matches. On one side of the bracket is the highest stakes EU versus NA match ever.
Rift Rivals 3!
Fnatic and Cloud9 face off for a spot in the finals. And on the other side, we have the semifinal between the teams that knocked out tournament favorites, G2 Esports and Invictus Gaming. Vedius gave me his quick preview of the NA-EU matchup here, Cloud9 versus Fnatic. Jat, what are your thoughts on the fact that we're going to see these two teams clash?
I mean, I'm incredibly excited, not just for the fact that it means we have an NA or EU LCS team in the World Final, but I feel like it could have an inspirational effect on the regions going forward, because I do feel like there has been just so many stones thrown at NA or EU anytime someone speaks the way Reckless just did in that interview and say, shut up, you're going to lose a best of 5 to the Korean or the Chinese team. You don't get to say you're good. Now you can say you're good because they've proven it on the world stage, and I think it has potential to improve practice. I think it has the potential to improve solo queue. I hope it has that forward effect. As far as the matchup, I don't know. It really is.
Analysis doesn't work anymore, Dash.
No, man.
Who shows up better on the day?
I'm opening up applications for analyst desk spots on the desk because apparently, it's anything.
We should just start throwing darts at the wall and go, I think today Fnatic will win game 1 because Reckless picks Civic. Okay, that's my analysis.
There it is. I like it. Little clue, basically. All right, earlier, Shox cut up with Cloud9's most veteran player to get his thoughts on the team's run through Worlds so far.
Thank you very much. I am here with Sneaky. Sneaky, 5th time is the charm. You make it to the semifinals, a huge, huge, huge achievement. How do you look back on what you guys did in the games versus the Freak of Freaks today?
Yeah, we played pretty well. We were able to come back from deficits. I think games 2 and 3, like we were losing out a bit, but we kept our mental strong and we ended up winning out. It was super amazing. And yeah, it's first time getting to semis for NA and for us. Like I've been here in quarters 5 times now and always fallen a bit short. Last year was the closest one, and yeah, we're finally able to make it. It's pretty insane. I'm really happy.
It seems like hard work does really pay off. A lot of people have talked about how it can be quite a grind going from the gauntlet to the play-ins to the group stage to this, and the schedule is so compressed. But you guys seem to go from strength to strength. Why is that?
I think it might just have to do with our learning process. Maybe other teams... actually, no, I was going to say maybe other teams don't have as good learning process, but G2 and EDG are also looking really strong, and they also did the same thing as us. So I think it just proves that a lot of teams are adaptable, and going through more games in Worlds is actually pretty beneficial, even though it's a lot more risky because they're like, yeah, we could get eliminated before Worlds even starts. So I mean, I like it and I don't like it.
Well, it is paying off. In the semifinal now, when you look at the playing field, you know, you have an IG, a Fnatic, an EDG, possibly a G2. What do you think sets you guys apart from all the teams that you may be meeting when it comes to the actual game?
Well, originally when we were coming to the tournament, I thought our, I guess our trait would be proactive aggression, but we couldn't really show it at first, and it took a lot of time. And now I think it's really coming out, and we're able to show that. But also, those other teams are super aggressive too, and I think that's just like the winning thing for this World is aggression. Because if you've seen all the Korean teams, like they try to play it slow, they try to play around the vision, but then everyone just goes for the fight in darkness. So it's something we've had to learn, and I think we're really good at now. So I like our aggression.
Yeah, I mean, I like it too. Final question, how does it feel to have the weight of the NALCS on your shoulders, the fact that you could be the first NALCS team to win the World Championship?
Yeah, that's actually nuts. I didn't really think it would be too possible coming in to Worlds because, you know, we always falter at quarters, and all the Korean teams usually look so strong, but this year it's so up in the air that I'm really confident now that we can win it all.
Fantastic. That's what I love to hear. Thank you very much. Sneaky, back over to you guys.
Thank you, Sharks. They went the distance last year and lost in the 5th game to narrowly miss the semifinals. This time around, 3-0. We're not messing around. They secure it. Great to hear from Sneaky again, one of the longest standing members in the North American LCS and a longtime Worlds veteran.
Yeah, and I think the point he made about the Korean teams playing slow around Vision and then losing fights in the darkness is true, but I also like how you pointed to 2017 where C9 went to Game 5 against Team WE, Misfits went to Game 5 against SKT. Yes, there are other factors that help push us over the top, but the NA and EU LCS were team fights away from having 2 teams in the semifinals last year. I'm just really happy that they broke through this year.
Exactly. We talked about C9 Fnatic just a little bit. I do want to do justice to the other series that we have coming our way in G2 versus Invictus Gaming. The single most important thing you're looking at in that game, or exciting thing, what really gets you going about that series?
I can't wait to watch Perks versus Rookie. Because as good as Caps is, Perks has been the best European mid laner at Worlds so far. His last 2 games in the RNG series, who are arguably the hardest quarterfinal opponent that was defeated by G2 on the back of Perks in that game 4 and 5. So I want to see if G2 can keep up that miracle energy they seem to have. And Rookie is like
against the best opponent to showcase that against.
And I mean, we think about it, right? And Caps, in terms of international experience, is still limited, right? He had MSI, he had last year as well, and this tournament, he really did struggle against Rookie in all 3 games that they played. But Perks is a guy that has shouldered that weight for many international events. MSI 2016, where the meme began. Worlds 2016, where they couldn't get out of groups. He's been to 4 different international events. This is his 5th, and now he is so close to securing a final. And the fact that he has so much pressure on his shoulders and he's going up against arguably the best mid laner in the world right now is one of the hypest matchups I think we could ever have in the semifinal.
Yeah, and we have really good mid laners left in the tournament, by the way. We're down to Rookie, Caps, Jensen, and Perks.
Those are solid.
3 of those were from a certain part of the world. Something about someone mids. I forget the saying.
Danish mids, I believe is the phrase.
Exactly. All right, well, history was made this weekend, and Twitter flooded the internet with the moments that defined one of the greatest weekends of League of Legends ever. And we pulled a few to relive in our Acer Predator Big Plays. First up, Scoochlol was in shock during our first series of the day, saying, "I can't believe Licorice punched the Baron so hard that Korea left Worlds."
3 go. Look at Gragas. Oh, Gragas, finish him if you can. I'm moving. Gragas dead. Look at the Baron. 50. Steal. Nice. Good work, Eric.
Good shit.
The fuck shit, you guys are fighting. Oh, nice.
I'm coming. Wait, they don't have Baron recall.
Who does that? It was 16 HP.
I was going to say the Baron health is like floating at 400 or so for a while there, and you're like, all right, surely a smite or something.
And you're like, okay, there's 4 members of a Freaker in there. One of them is going to hit this.
50-50.
Drop the hammer.
He just drops the hammer.
Name 2 champions that would be better than Ornn Lissandra to defend a 2v5 Baron. Like, I can't even think about it.
That's Victor.
Yeah, if you're gonna have 3 people die and only have 2 left, that's pretty good.
But that's about as good as you can get.
Yeah.
As good as you can get. Next up, the Paradise Train's Pick'ems were on life support during the split push in Game 3 of IG versus KT.
This is going to be your game-ending push one way or the other. It's KT going for the base. It's going to be a base race. Nexus turret number 1, taking down to half HP. KT looking to end it right here, right now. Ning taken down to half. It's Shy versus Snap at the base at the same time. Mono's going to be taken very low. Yukao barely going to be kept alive. Score taken down to 1 corner. Snap's nearly going to be killed now as well. Def taken so low. The Blade Caller's not able to find him. Def goes in a killing spree. It's the Shy still in the base. It's KT looking to try to stand and fight if they can. The Shy has made his way onto the inhibitor turrets, onto the Nexus turrets. They're going to be taken down. KT still marching. It's a base race. The Shy's onto the blue Nexus. KT's onto the red. Who's going to win? The Shy will not. And KT takes it to game 4.
Holy crap! They won the top side 4v4 with Baron buff on KT roster. Still are in Worlds!
Some people say Captain Flowers is still catching his breath from that call. I believe it. My God, what a finish to that game.
Kobe, I just felt like the excitement overtook him, and he's like, I'm just saying words. I'm yelling. It's
Also,
so exciting.
Credit to Kobe and Papa Smithy.
Everyone else.
For knowing who won. Because when it was live, the camera was actually on just the Fiora, and you got to see the camera start to pan,
go.
and then it cut away.
Right.
So you like have to know that was the Nexus pan.
Right? I mean, we all had to confirm on the desk ourselves as that game was ending, you know, like, oh, wait a second. Let me just verify the result of that before we dive on to an analyst desk segment. Finally, Huzaifa, I really hope I got that right. Huzaifa, correct me if I'm wrong, on Twitter, claimed that G2 Perks is the second coming of Faker after that LeBlanc play.
No flash, no flash, no flash, no flash either. No flash either. Nice, good job.
Right flash two, I'm throwing time.
Guys, we are getting top. If you, as long as we're down, we are fucking. Guys, the bot lane could be on the. We're fine. We're smurfing.
Push out of the base.
Okay, hey, LeBlanc, let's base, and I'll go with you to top. Okay. Oh, LeBlanc is going crazy actually. Holy shit. Okay, well, LeBlanc really wants to actually go.
That was the most impressive. So the most impressive thing about that, right?
They're already talking about it.
He wasn't sure if the Ignite would kill him, so he goes back to the W, he fires his chains onto the Thresh to proc Ludens to then hit Uzi and secure the kill. Like, the awareness in that moment was just nutty.
I like it.
He was 11-0 in that game.
You're fine, you're smurfing.
Yeah.
That's like,
It's like, don't worry, guys, we're smurfing, we got this.
communication of the highest level right there. All right, with only the final 4 left standing, we need you to keep tweeting out those plays that make Worlds worth watching so that we can bask in their glory till the world champion is crowned. Make sure to use that hashtag Worlds 2018. Of course, those plays were piloted by some of the pros who stepped up in today's matches and earned themselves MasterCard Player of the Game. For Series 1, the accolades went to Cloud9's Jensen, Svenskeren, and Licorice. And of course, for Series 2, it goes to EDG's Scout, Fnatic's Caps, Fnatic's Reckless, and Fnatic's Bwipo.
And I feel like the big one there is Bwipo for me in that final game. His Swain was so important in keeping the gold even though Fnatic were just losing in kills all across the board. That Kleptomancy Swain really worked out nicely for him, and in a lot of those team fights, he was pivotal in the success of the team.
Without a doubt. Next week, though, Worlds heads to Guangzhou for the semifinal weekend, kicking things off with G2 versus Invictus Gaming on Saturday, October 27th, with C9 versus Fnatic brawling it out on Sunday. Once again, gentlemen, we've already talked a little bit about these series, but could it get any more exciting than this, the way that this tournament is going?
I mean, only if Vitality was there as well, but...
Who do they replace, though, Vidius? Who do you get rid of there?
Invictus Gaming.
Vidius? Oh, please. Oh, please.
I mean, the fact that one of those teams is winning Worlds when beforehand we had the 2 favorites, KT and RNG, coming in. Like, I can't remember, there hasn't been a Worlds where this many of the tournament favorites failed to make it even to the semifinals. It has been the most surprising Worlds ever. The game has been, I feel like, more fun to watch than ever because of the types of plays that are being rewarded. Yes, it is impressive to watch the slow, strangling style of vision control that has dominated for the past 4 years, but this is so refreshing and so fun. I can't wait.
Also fun to just watch teams duke it out.
That's true. But I just feel like the game is back to individual talent and team fighting. And, like, that is summarizing it a lot. But at the same time, just think of the number of outplays we've seen at this World Championship that have swung games around. And to me, that is just what I have missed so much. And the only way this gets better is if we see, like, a Zed versus the Yasuo final, right? Like,
yeah, where we're going, I wouldn't be that surprised if we saw Zed.
Right. And for me, all I care about within all of this is that we get 5-game series so we can see more of those outplays. We've been lucky so far. We've only had the 1-3-0 that we had today, but then 3-1, 3-2, 3-2. We've been blessed with a lot of really fantastic games as well as in the group stages. So only hoping that that continues on here in the semifinals. That is going to do it for us here and the quarterfinals. Now for myself, the casters, the entire live broadcast crew, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next week for the semifinals of Worlds 2018.
North America has dared to dream for many, many years. Cloud9 so often tasked with making it to this moment and moving forward and coming up short again and again. Mid lane.
The flash in the mid lane going for Kuro right away. He can't get away from the chain. Ignite is on. He's not 6. 2-6 really low. This could be a dive and a kill, and he's got him. Sneaky, a solo kill under the turret. Sneaky Lucian. This could be the solo kill, and indeed it will. We are into game number 2. Turns out this is the taste he would like, as the health bar is low, and the second solo kill of the top lane.
I have bought him. Is that Victor attack. Save me. Nice.
The ult,
I'm killing. Play Lucian. I'm dead here. No fight.
Has to get away from the turret. He's close to dying. He's got to watch out for this one. Oh, James!
I'm moving. Look at Barry. 50.
Oh, Gunhorn! Sneaky forced to run. Snipe down by Kramer. And the last vestige of Korea has been destroyed. Cloud9 will make it to the semifinals. A 3-0 sweep. The first time in 7 years.
The last quarterfinal, the winner will face down Cloud9, and it is Fnatic versus Edward Gaming. Caps now. Ooh. Now remember, Caps flashed over the wall. He needs to get this stun. A flash over from iBoy. Scout continues to look for Reckless. The chains will find him. Mako will set it up. Ray! Cypher power, buy some time! Not enough, and Ray gets a solo.
Holy shit, face!
Now Ray, looking to jump in the pit, there's no smite available. Ray goes in, gets Caps on Rampage! That's a great stun from iBoy. Killer Instinct into death. iBoy suicides. He flies into Fnatic. He gets dunked. Here comes Haro. Sonic Wave needs to find a target. The knockup catches onto Hilly. Resonating strike.
I'm out. Go, stop.
The Nexus is being focused down. And Fnatic, the last standing world favorite, will advance to face Cloud9.